Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another makeup tutorial for you. Today's look, as you probably guessed from the title, is a drugstore prom makeup tutorial, which basically means that it's super affordable and you won't have to break the bank to recreate this look at home. For this look, I've gone with a pretty pink eye with a little bit of smoke and a little bit of sparkle. Perfect for prom because it's super girly and pretty. If you want to know how to get this look, just keep watching. For primer today, I'm using my Nivea Men Post Shave Balm. This product has been raved about online and is meant to act great as a primer because of the glycerin in it. It helps your foundation stick to your skin and last all day. Then I'm going to take the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser to fill in any pores. This is going to give us a nice, smooth, flawless complexion, which is what you want when you're going to prom. I'm just placing that in the centre of my face where my pores are larger. For foundation, I'm going to take my Loreal True Match foundation. I'm using two shades to mix because I haven't got my usual shade, which is W4, so I've just mixed the two to match my skin tone. This is by far my favourite inexpensive foundation. It's very similar to the MAC Studio Fix foundation in terms of consistency and coverage. It's just a little bit more lighter on the skin because it's a bit more watery, which is perfect if you're quite young with great skin anyway. For concealer, I'm going to use the LA Girl Pro Conceal HD High Definition Concealer. These concealers are a great dupe for the MAC Pro Long Wear concealers, but for a fraction of the price. The only difference I find is they are a little less coverage and they dry quicker, so you have to work a little faster when blending them out than you do with the MAC Pro Long Wear ones. But other than that, they're a great dupe and they work brilliantly. These concealers are really easy to use because they come in a squeezy tube with a brush applicator, so it just means you can brush it on straight from the concealer and then blend it out with a sponge. I am using two shades of this concealer. You don't have to take that extra step, but the first shade I'm going in is the shade Natural, and that's just to cover my dark circles, just to conceal them. Then I'm going to go in with the shade Ivory, which is, I believe, the lightest shade that they own, and I'm going to place that over the top of that Natural concealer and down the center of my nose, on my forehead and on my chin, just to highlight and make those areas really bright and bring them forward on the face. So you can see that's what I'm doing now. That's the shade Ivory. Again, you don't have to use two of these. I'm just being picky. If you're in the UK, it can be quite tricky to get your hands on these concealers because they don't stock them in places like Boots or Superdrug. So you do have to go online to buy them. You can, of course, get them from eBay for cheaper, but there's always the risk of them being damaged or used. So if you would prefer to go to a website to buy them, I'd recommend going to beautybay.com where they sell them for £5 each. Although they do dry fairly quick, they blend out really easily. You just want to make sure that your sponge is damp before you blend it out. The sponge I'm using is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, which again is a drugstore product. I've tried my best to use all drugstore products in this video, but with brushes and stuff like that, I don't really own a lot of cheap brushes to use, so I've tried my best where I can. So yeah, you just want to blend that all out with your sponge. You want to push it into your skin rather than dragging the sponge around your face, because you will move the foundation underneath your concealer if you're dragging the sponge around, which we don't want to do. We want things to stay where they are, so just use the sponge to push the product into your face rather than dragging it along. Then I'm taking my foundation brush again, which I don't think I said is a Jessup brush from eBay, which are really cheap, and I'm taking that just to blend between where the concealer meets the foundation, so it all looks even and you can't see where your foundation stops and your concealer starts. Then to set that concealer and lock it in place, I'm taking my Barry M Chisel Cheeks Contour Kit, and I'm taking the lightest shade in the palette just to place over the top of all those concealed areas. This will make sure it lasts all day and will prevent your under eye area from creasing. I'm using a Real Techniques setting brush to do this because it's a nice small brush, so it will place the product in the areas where you want it to be placed, because I don't really want that light powder all around my face. I'm going to use a different powder to set the rest of my face. So to set the rest of my face, I'm taking my NYX Smooth Skin Loose Translucent Powder, and I'm just using a big fluffy brush and I'm pressing the powder into my skin. You'll notice that I'm not dragging the brush around or swirling it around on my face because I don't want to move the foundation underneath. I just want to set it with the powder. And then to bronze up my face, I'm using my Sleek contour kit in the shade Light. You can use this for a contour because it's kind of a neutral. It's not too warm and it's not too cool, but it does give you a nice tanned look. So I'm using that with a bigger brush to contour slash bronze up my face. So as I would with any normal bronzer, I'm just taking my MAC 135 brush and just dusting this around the outer areas of my face. So along my hairline, in the hollows of my cheekbones, and I'm also going to run it along my jawline and underneath my chin. This will just erase any double chin that we've got going on. For contour, I'm using the Chisel Cheeks palette from Barry M again, and I'm taking the darker shade in the palette and I'm just placing this in the hollows of my cheekbones. This palette is really pigmented, so you want to make sure that you tap off any excess on your brush because you can look muddy very quickly. So just go in with a very small amount. To highlight, I'm taking this Makeup Academy Undress Your Skin shimmer highlighter in the shade Iridescent Gold, which is a gold toned highlighter. They also do a pink toned one, which might be better for you if you've got fairer skin, but both are gorgeous. And for £2, you can't go wrong. I want my skin to be really glowy and youthful, so I'm highlighting pretty much everywhere on my face. I'm taking it down the bridge of my nose, on the tip of my nose, on the top of my cheekbones, and above the arch and onto my forehead, just so my skin catches the light as I turn. And then for blush, I'm taking this Sleek blush in the shade Life's a Peach, and I'm just placing that on the apples of my cheekbones and blending it up towards my temple. Moving on to brows, it's very hard to find a good affordable brow product, but I feel like I found one with this, and this is the Sleek Brow Kit in the shade Dark. It comes with a powder, a wax, a pair of tweezers and 2 small brushes, which are really good, but they're very small, so for me I prefer to use my own. So I'm taking an angled brush, this one's from Mally, and I'm starting about 1/3 of the way in from the centre of my brow, and I'm running a line along the bottom down towards the tail. And then with my brows I haven't really got an arch, so I have to create one. So again, I start 1/3 of the way in. You never want to start in the center of your brow because you want the least product to be there. So I'm starting 1/3 of the way in and creating a sort of fake arch in my brow. Once I've got the shape of my brow down, I then just go ahead and fill in any gaps, and I leave the front part of my brow until last, until there's hardly any product left on the brush, because I want that part of my brow to be the lightest. By the way, I don't think I've mentioned that I use just the wax from the brow kit. I don't use the powder. Then to carve out our brows and make them look more defined and to clean up any mistakes we made when filling them in, I'm taking that LA Girl Pro Concealer on a flat brush and just tracing a line right up close to the underneath of the brow and then dragging it down to blend it in. This step is optional, you don't have to do this, but I just prefer a nice defined brow. To prime my eyelids, again I'm using that concealer and I'm just placing a tiny bit of that on my lids and blending it out with my ring finger. This is going to make sure our eyeshadow lasts longer and it gives it something for it to stick to and to cling on to, and it will prevent it from creasing throughout the night. Now onto eyeshadow. I'm using this Sleek eyeshadow palette in the shade Ultra Max Volume 2, I believe. And I'm taking this peachy shade, which is well loved, on a fluffy brush and I'm placing this in the crease. If you've not heard of the brand Sleek, you should really check them out. Their products are so good, such good quality and so affordable. I'm gonna say that Sleek is my favourite inexpensive makeup brand. There, I said it, it's out there. It's so good, especially their eyeshadow palettes. This one's one of my favourite. I love a matte palette, and the shades in this palette are gorgeous, perfect transition shades for in the crease. The black is so pigmented, it's really hard to get a good pigmented black, but the black in this palette is so pigmented. Anyway, I'm going on a ramble. So taking that peach shade in the crease, so I'm just blending that back and forth in windscreen wiper motions and blending it upwards towards the brow. This is just our transition shade, so it's not going to make a massive difference to the makeup, but it's going to help the darker shades blend seamlessly. Then to deepen the crease up further, I'm taking this reddish brown shade on the same brush and just doing the same thing, but I'm not blending it up as high as I did with that peachy shade, just keeping it fairly low. In the palette this looks more of a browny red, but when you put it on your eyelids it comes out quite pink, and at first I was like, oh no, I don't know if I like that, but as the makeup look went on I was quite pleased with the outcome. So yeah, I really like it. Eyeshadow is all about blending, so make sure you allow yourself that extra time to get it right. Don't get frustrated if you feel like your eye makeup isn't looking as good as you want it to. That just means that you haven't spent enough time blending. Even though it may feel like you have because your arm's sore and feels like it's going to drop off, it just means that you need to spend a bit more time blending your eyeshadow. Another tip is to not move on to a darker shadow until you finish blending the previous shadow. So I went in with the peach and I made sure that was all blended out first before I went in with the dark reddish brown, and now I'm going in with the dark brown because I've completely blended out that pinkish brown. So you just want to make sure that you take it in steps. Put one colour down, blend it out, and don't move on until it's blended out. Then move on, put that colour down, blend it out, and don't move on until that's blended out. That's going to make life a lot easier for you. Another tip is just to make sure that you've got good blending brushes. The one I'm using now is from MAC and it will last me a lifetime. So in terms of money, it's for a lifetime, it's not really a lot of money. I think it was about £20 or something like that, but it's a very, very good blending brush. Although I am a firm believer of you get what you pay for when it comes to makeup brushes, you can get really good inexpensive makeup brushes, and whenever I find them I always post them on my Instagram, so I'll link that down below so you can check out my Instagram for any bargains that I find. I do love a bargain. So with that dark brown shade, I'm keeping it on the outside area of my eye. So when I bring it up and into the crease, I'm not taking it all the way into the inner corner. I'm only going about a third to half of the way in and keeping it right on the outside. You can see that when I place it down, I start at the root of my lashes on the outside of my eye, and then I bring it up towards the crease and then bring it into the crease. That's so that we haven't got a lot of dark product placed in the crease. When you first place the product onto your eyelid, that's the area of your eyelid that's going to have the most intense colour, and I want my intense colour to be along my lash line. So I place it at my lash line and then blend it up towards the crease and then blend it into the crease. Hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to go in with the black from the palette, which I've said before is super pigmented. So I'm using a tiny brush and a little bit of product, and again starting at the root of my lash line, I'm blending it back and forth and bringing it slowly up towards the crease and then blending it out. Once you've finished placing that down, you want to go back in with your fluffy brush with no product on it, just whatever we had in it before, and blend around the outer edges of that black just to soften it and make sure it blends in with all the other colours. Doing the same again on the other eye, starting at the lashes with the black and bringing it up towards the crease and in about a third of the way, and then blending out the edges of that black with the fluffy brush. Then I'm taking another palette by Sleek. This is their Oh So Special palette, and I'm taking that pinky goldy shimmery shade to place on the centre of our lid and bringing it in towards the inner corner. You don't want to place this over the top of those darker shades. Then I'm taking the highlighter that we use to highlight our cheekbones and I'm popping that on the inner corner of my eye with a pencil brush. And then underneath my lower lash line, I'm taking that reddish brown from the Ultra Matte palette and I'm just bringing that along my lower lash line just to smoke it out a little bit. Then on a smaller angled brush, I'm taking the matte black and I'm pushing that right up close into my lash line. And once once you've done that, you just want to soften that black by blending it with a small pencil brush. Now for the fun part, I'm going to take these glitter shakers from Stargazer, and I'm taking a pinky shade and a copper shade and mixing the two together. Using their glitter gel, I'm going to place that on my lid first and then pick up a little bit of glitter and stick it over the top. Then for winged eyeliner, I'm going to use my NYX liquid liner in the shade Black, and I'm just going to start from the outer corner of my eye and draw a straight line going up from the outer corner towards the tail of my brow, and then bring it back down to meet my lashes and then fill it in. If you are using glitter for this look, you want to make sure that you use a liquid liner because it's a lot easier to apply over the top of glitter than a gel eyeliner would be. Then I'm taking my Maybelline Great Lash Mascara, and I'm just coating my top and bottom lashes with this before I go in with some falsies. For my eyelashes, I'm taking the Salon System Natural Lashes in this style 101, which are exactly the same as the Eyelure ones, but the Eyelure ones are easy to get your hands on, so I suggest getting those. And I'm just placing them on the centre of my lid and then tucking in the corners as usual. To line my lips, I'm going to use my NYX Lip Pencil in the shade Natural, which is just a pinky, nudie colour. Then I'm going to take this Avon lipstick in the shade Au Naturel, and I'm just placing that all over my lips. And then for a little bit of gloss and shine, I'm taking my NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Crème Brulee and just going over the top of that. And that's the finished look. I really hope you guys like this tutorial. I think it's perfect for prom. It's so feminine and girly, and what I would have worn to prom if I had one. But if you are going to be doing your makeup yourself, I hope this tutorial has helped you, and I hope you have a lovely prom. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.